Some videos you scroll past, others stop you right in your tracks. Well, this one doesn't just stop you, it drags you right in and refuses to let go.
And today, we got clips that range from a shadowy figure moving where no one should be, to an eerie voice caught on camera, and even a creature lurking in the background when no one noticed.
My name is Steve, this is Classified Captures, but before we get into any more of these videos, let's take a look at a pregnant robot.
As if AI and robotic advancements weren't already wild, there are claims that a Chinese company has developed robot prototypes that can get pregnant and grow babies in artificial wombs. These machines are alleged to be able to incubate a human child, feeding and nurturing it throughout artificial systems designed to replicate what a mother's body does naturally. On paper, the idea is being pitched as a way to help couples who struggle with fertility. But the unsettling part is that in this system, the baby's first contact would not be with a human parent, but with a machine. Psychologists and medical experts say that the bond between a newborn and its parents during birth is one of the most crucial steps in human development, and skipping that for a cold mechanical womb could have serious psychological and social consequences for the child. Some people see this as a futuristic breakthrough, while others see it as a dystopian warning sign. After all, just because we can build something doesn't always mean we should. According to online sources, the company behind this initiative has even hinted that these could eventually be rolled out at a price point of around $14,000, although they're currently in early prototype stages. Now, well, this is scary and interesting at the same time. I did extensive investigation and couldn't find any medical articles online to support this. In a perfect world, this would have been taken to mean that the claims are false. But, well, then again, you and I know that our world is far from perfect. Logical sometimes, but not perfect. Anyway, do you see this as hopeful science for families in need, or as a dangerous step towards dehumanizing birth itself? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments. Security officers monitoring the cameras of an apartment complex recently captured something deeply unsettling. In the first video, we see one of the residents, a woman, running frantically down the hallway and into an elevator. She keeps looking behind her as if something or someone is chasing her. Panicked, she presses the elevator buttons, desperate for the doors to close, but they won't. The doors remain open. Finally, she bolts out of the elevator and disappears from view. At first glance, it just looks like a case of someone being spooked, but then comes the second clip. The hallway appears empty, but watch the wall carefully. For just a brief moment, a humanoid shadow streaks across it, and then, almost immediately afterwards, one of the ornamental pebbles placed on a nearby table falls to the ground on its own when no one was even there. If the shadow was not a person, then what exactly was chasing that woman? Yes, these are some security men trying to do their best to understand what was going on with the lady. They did extensive checks, which is why we have this video, but no matter how diligent they are, how can they protect the tenants against something that's not exactly human? The lady's POV was released later, and she confirms she heard something following her, even though she couldn't see it. The event has already drawn comparisons to the infamous case of Elisa Lam at the Cecil Hotel in 2013, where surveillance footage showed her acting erratically in an elevator, as if she too was being pursued by something unseen shortly before her mysterious death. Some say it was an unknown entity that attacked her, just like this woman in the clip here. What would, or rather, what can you do in such a situation? Do you believe fairies are real? No? Well, don't answer that just yet. Let's head to Asheville, North Carolina first, and then you can decide after hearing this story. A man claims that he's uncovered a fairy graveyard right in his backyard, not far from the Pisgah National Forest. He swears the tiny remains look like miniature humans, complete with long limbs, sharp features, and delicate wings folded neatly against their backs. To make things even stranger, he's marked the spot with small stones as if it's some kind of sacred burial ground. Now, Asheville isn't exactly new to the supernatural. Cherokee legends tell of little people who once lived in the forests, sometimes protecting travelers, other times playing tricks on them. The nearby Brown Mountain has baffled people for generations with its glowing mystery lights, and there are even old reports of fairy-like figures seen dancing near Chimney Rock. When you stack this man's claim against all that history, it starts to sound less like a random discovery and more like another piece of a very strange puzzle. Of course, the skeptics aren't buying it. They argue it's just twisted roots, animal remains, or maybe even an elaborate prank. And logically, that makes sense. Stones and stories alone don't prove fairies are real. But here's the question that lingers. Why do these kinds of discoveries always happen in places already tied to centuries of supernatural lore? Is it all a coincidence, or is there something that we're missing? A little girl was out on a trip with her dad. They'd driven to a quiet river spot in a wooded area. While sitting in the car, she snapped a selfie with a father bent over near the trunk, putting something away. And when you look closer, there's someone else. Right next to her dad was a dark figure. Zooming in, you can make out what appears to be a man in a cap with a wide grin directed straight at the camera. The strangest part is that the face doesn't look fully human. It's blackened with exaggerated features, almost too clear and defined to be a shadow or a trick of the light. But they were all alone. So was this some kind of spirit caught wandering the woods, or could it have been a figure that only appeared in the photo? Some argue it might be a classic case of pareidolia, where our brains create faces out of shadows, but the details here seem too deliberate. If it wasn't someone physically present, then it could have been a ghost. What do you think? A man was out in a wooded area when he snapped a picture that would leave him and many others speechless. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but look closely just behind him amongst the trees. You can see the faint outline of a childlike figure, pale and ghostly, almost watching him from the shadows. The location where the photograph was taken makes this even more unsettling. It's at the Gore Orphanage in Ohio. Back in 1902, it was home to more than 120 children. But over the years, strange news began to spread about the place. It was said that the children were being mistreated, that terrible accidents and even unexplainable deaths gave the orphanage a reputation as a place of suffering. Eventually, it was abandoned, but the legends never died. For decades, locals have claimed to see phantom children wandering the grounds, hearing disembodied laughter, or seeing pale figures darting between the trees. So when people saw this photograph, many believed it was the restless spirits of the children who lived and perhaps died there. A group of hunters were camped out at a spot in the woods where strange things began to happen. According to them, they started hearing noises of branches breaking, something moving around the tree line, and then rocks were being thrown in their direction. They assumed it had to be a bear, but then again, bears don't throw stones. One of the men pulled out his phone to record as the group scanned the trees. That's when, from behind a cluster of trees, a figure suddenly shifted. It looked crouched low, watching them, but then it stood up. The figure was tall, massive, and covered in dark fur. It lingered for only a moment before bolting into the woods, leaving the hunters shaken. The footage is shaky and blurred because of their panic, but when slowed down, you can clearly make out the outline of something humanoid.
The hunters were convinced that they weren't dealing with any kind of bear or known animal. Most people are very convinced that this was the big guy. Yeah, we got our Bigfoot footage for this video.
Thing earlier? No, he didn't. He got some hits there. He's been trolling out there. Des, is that a bear? Get your camera. Come here. I can't see it. Can you see it? I don't see anything. Oh, Look at the size of that thing! Dude, that's not a bear! That's not a bear! That's not a bear!
Technology has gone so far that sometimes it feels almost unreal. But this next breakthrough was both terrifying and amazing. A man who'd been suffering from severe depression for over 30 years underwent an experimental procedure using brain stimulation. Surgeons implanted tiny electrodes directly into the region of his brain responsible for mood and emotion. It was all about fine-tuning the settings, and at the end, something incredible happened. The man suddenly broke down in tears of joy. For the first time in 3 decades, the crushing thoughts of ending his life were gone. He said he finally felt happiness and relief again. This sounds like a miracle, but here's the catch. If we can literally switch on happiness by stimulating the brain, well, what does that mean for the future? Could this become the next medical revolution, saving lives from depression and PTSD? Or could it spiral into something darker, with people abusing brain stimulation like a drug, chasing artificial highs with headsets and implants on every street corner? This woman took what seemed like a simple rear-view mirror picture, but instead of just her reflection, something else appeared. In the mirror's reflection, a second face showed up, and it didn't resemble a human at all. Its features looked distorted and grotesque, almost as if its skin was stretched unnaturally, and its eyes were glowing in a way that instantly made the image unsettling. The scariest part is the uncertainty. From the photo alone, it's hard to tell whether this thing was outside the car peering in, or if it was actually sitting in the back seat with her. But either option is terrifying, adding to the creep factor. Nothing about the image showed it was edited. So what could it be? Some people say it's a spirit or entity that manifested in the mirror, since mirrors are considered portals into the paranormal community. And then there's the darker possibility that the reflection showed something real and physical in the car, something the girl wasn't even aware of when she snapped the photograph. Either way, if I were her, I don't think I'd feel comfortable riding in that car again. A family's home security camera recently picked up something chilling in the middle of the night. As the footage rolls, you can see a transparent figure walking across the yard right by the mesh fence. The shape looks unmistakably human, like a woman in a robe with short dark hair. She's clear enough to make out details, yet completely see-through. Some people who've seen the video are convinced that this is a ghost wandering through the property, but skeptics argue it could just be a camera glitch that made an ordinary person appear translucent. But when you watch the way the figure moves across the screen, it feels like more than just a camera fault. So what do you think? This is an update on the mysterious ice cream truck sightings happening late at night in Virginia. One local man reported driving down a quiet street when he noticed an ice cream truck moving unusually slowly. Curious and suspicious, he decided to follow it while recording on his phone. That's when things took a disturbing turn. The truck pulled over to the side of the road, and to his shock, 2 individuals in full hazmat suits stepped out. They weren't selling ice cream. Instead, they carried strange equipment into a smaller parked car. Why would a supposed ice cream truck be out at night? And why the hazmat suits? And what were they putting into the smaller car? Some believe this could be linked to secret government experiments or cleanup operations disguised in plain sight. Others fear it's part of a trafficking or surveillance scheme hidden behind something as innocent as an ice cream truck. Whatever this is, this strange case is getting creepier by the day. So what exactly is going on in Virginia?
What exactly is going on in Virginia? This stuff is getting creepier by the minute, if you ask me.
Now, if you don't know this girl, well, then maybe you've been on the safer side of the internet, and that's good. Her name is Lil Tay. Since she was just 9 years old, she went viral online for flashing stacks of cash, luxury cars, and claiming to be the youngest flexer alive. Now fast forward to today, she's just turned 18 and immediately announced her debut on OnlyFans. Within 3 hours of going live, she's made over $1 million. But here's where it gets dark. She admitted that men had been pre-ordering her content since she was as young as 12, long before she was even legal. Yes, in today's world, OnlyFans is often seen as just another way to make a living, but think about this. A child who grew up flaunting wealth online is now being consumed by an audience that's been waiting for her to turn 18. That's unsettling. What does this say about the culture we've created online and the people consuming this kind of content? Because, let's be real, this doesn't feel right at all.
Already know what the going on. Lil Tay's dropping the youngest link of the century. Mark your calendars tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST.
Sorry, I'm just setting up my OnlyFans account. Which one do you think I should put up first? This one here? Or perhaps this one? I'm kind of mixed about it. What do you think?
A woman said she received a late-night Snapchat video from her husband, who's an officer in the U.S. Air Force. He was on base, alone in his quarters, and had been working that night when he sent her the video. In the clip, he casually tells his wife when he'll be back home for Halloween. But as he's speaking, there's an unexpected snap sound in the room. He pauses, looks around, and even peers outside, but sees nothing and brushes it off. When his wife later opened the video, she noticed something that he had completely missed. In the doorway behind him, a faint figure seems to peek out, just for a second before vanishing again. It does not look solid like a human, it was transparent, but still clearly humanoid in form. What's especially eerie is that the movement happens at the exact moment he heard the strange noise, so perhaps the presence caused it. Now both of them are unsettled. He thought he wasn't alone, but the footage suggests otherwise. So was it just a shadow, or did something really make itself known in that room? And if it wasn't human, then what exactly was keeping him company in the middle of the night? This next story is gonna blow your mind, and it's all about transplants with a chilling twist. Back in 1995, a man received a heart transplant. His donor had tragically passed away from self-harm. After recovering from the surgery, the recipient did something unbelievable. He sought out the donor's family and eventually fell in love with and married the widow of the very man whose heart now beats inside his chest. At first, it seemed like fate or perhaps destiny, but years later, the story took a dark turn. The man ended up taking his own life as his donor. What are the odds? Was this just a tragic coincidence, or could it be that the heart carries memories, emotions, and impulses much like the brain? There's a theory that organs can store fragments of experience and identity, and from the past owner, that memory was transferred to the new owner of the heart. Others speculate that maybe it wasn't the heart at all, but rather his connection with the donor's widow that pushed him toward the same fate. Perhaps it's the woman driving them to their death. Either way, this case remains one of the strangest and most chilling transplant stories ever recorded. What are your thoughts? A farmer in El Salvador shared a story that's been stirring up a lot of debate. Late one night, his dog started barking uncontrollably. He rushed to the window to check, but said he saw nothing unusual. The next morning, he decided to review the footage from his farm security cameras, and what he found left him shaken. On the feed, the dogs can be seen reacting to something. One of them even looks like it's chasing after an intruder. But when you follow the dog's focus closely, there's a faint, invisible figure running across the property. It moves like a human, but its body is transparent like a ghost. Some people believe this is proof of entities sharing our world that we simply can't see with the naked eye, while others suggest a more technological explanation that it's perhaps some kind of experimental cloaking device being used by an intruder. But if that's true, then what was someone with access to such advanced tech doing on a small farm in El Salvador? A man was attending Mass when something extraordinary happened. During the service, he noticed something unusual about the statue of the Virgin Mary at the altar. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, so he immediately took out his phone to record the scene, and in the footage, it really looks like Mary's eyes open and close. For Catholics, statues like these are considered holy images and a divine presence, so seeing one come alive, even for a split second, has left many believers shaken. Some are calling it a miracle meant to strengthen faith. Others, especially skeptics, argue it could be a digital artifact or even an edited clip. With today's filters and AI tools, creating this effect is easier than ever. Still, if this video is authentic, what exactly happened here? Was it a message from above? Back in 2009, a man named Larry Ely Morillo Moncada, who worked at a supermarket in Council Bluffs, Iowa, mysteriously vanished. He'd gone to work one day and never came home. His family reported him missing, and for years there were searches, but no solid leads ever turned up. It was as if he had simply disappeared. Fast forward 10 years to 2019, that same supermarket was undergoing a deep cleaning and renovation. While moving equipment, workers found something behind one of the giant coolers. They found the mummified remains of Larry. The strange part is how he ended up there. Investigators believe he may have climbed onto the cooler units, which was something employees were known to do during breaks. He probably slipped and fell into the narrow 18-inch gap between the wall and the cooler. The noise of the fans running would have drowned out any cries for help, meaning no one would have heard him. Over time, his body went undiscovered until the cleaning years later. Still, some people doubt this explanation. They believe he may have been placed there intentionally, since it seems bizarre that no one would notice for so long. He was reported missing, yet his body was essentially in his own workplace the entire time. By now, we all know our pets are sometimes our best protectors, both from human threats and maybe even inhuman ones. A woman recently shared some disturbing footage online after she started hearing strange noises at night. To get to the bottom of it, she set up cameras around her home. In the first clip, you can clearly see movements like a shadowy figure walking outside her house, visible through the windows. Then, in another clip, things get even creepier. The woman and her boyfriend were asleep in bed with their cat lying next to them. The cat was facing the window, awake as if it sensed something. Suddenly, the bedroom door opens slightly and shuts again, but no one enters and no one leaves. This woman lives with only her boyfriend and her cat. No one else is in the house, so what was moving around? Was this just a draft, or did a cat catch sight of something the humans couldn't see? Many are speculating that this wasn't an intruder at all, but something paranormal. What do you think? This next one was shared on Facebook by a man who thought he was just snapping a cool picture of himself until people online pointed out something terrifying. At first glance, it's just a simple selfie. He's wearing shades, standing in his home, nothing out of the ordinary. But take a closer look over his shoulders. On the right side of the photograph, there appears to be a cloaked figure, but what's even more unsettling is that you could make out a pair of bright, glowing eyes with what looks like an invisible or distorted head. Now look to the left side. There's another shadowy figure, darker and less defined. You can't quite make out what it is, but it doesn't look human. The man admitted that he's felt strange sensations at night. He says it's like something is standing over him while he's in bed. And now, seeing these mysterious figures appear in his photograph, people are speculating that this could very well be the entities watching him as he sleeps. What do you think? We've all heard and seen footage of directed energy weapons. These are very powerful systems capable of immense destruction. Normally, you'd expect technology like that to be confined to military use in war zones, but then this story pops up from the UK, and it raises a lot of red flags. A woman shared a job listing that appeared to be openly recruiting for a directed energy weapons operator. If that wasn't alarming enough, she also pointed out a government contract through the Home Office offering $1 million to prepare for a mass fatality event and requiring the capacity to store up to 700 bodies. That kind of wording is chilling, especially when it comes from official channels. Adding to the unease, schools in the UK have been running strange drills lately. Parents and students say it feels less like routine safety training and more like preparation for something catastrophic. But what exactly are they preparing for that the public isn't being told? Is it tied to global tensions, experimental technology, or some disaster that officials already anticipate?
Look at this. We have a directed energy weapons international and communications advisor. And this job role closes on the 3rd of September. To my knowledge, I didn't think we had energy weapons in the UK. I just thought it were free certain countries. But then that's not it. Look at this as well. This was posted 4 days before. And then the Home Office has just been awarded contracts worth over $1 million to prepare for a mass fatality event, including capacity to store up to 700 bodies. Plus we have the lockdown drills in schools. Like, everything is just getting all a bit too weird, and I don't know what to think of it all.
The way things are going in the world today right now, I'm telling you, ain't nothing gonna surprise me anymore.
There's this strange magic trick that's been circulating online, and to this day, no one can fully explain it. Take a look at this footage. A group of friends are hanging out at night having some drinks when one of them decides to pull out this bizarre trick. He tells another man to hold out his index finger. Then, using only his thumb and index finger, he grips it lightly. Nothing unusual. So far, everyone else is gathered around watching curiously. Look at the shadow on the ground. At first, it mimics their movements perfectly, just like you'd expect. But then the man is asked to pull his finger away. Watch carefully how the real hand releases instantly, but the shadow lags, moving with a strange delay. The entire group immediately freaks out, scattering in shock. Now, was this just some clever illusion, maybe a camera trick or something paranormal that revealed itself in the shadow world? What do you think?
Shit, no. أنا هنشدهم. تعرف؟ أنا شو سوي بستو. أحس جد ثلاثة عندي ترقي تقص. واحد شو كاس.
A woman recently went online claiming she had a disturbing vision in her dream. In it, she saw a power outages sweeping across resorts in Mexico and the Dominican Republic, and during the blackout, groups of people stormed the resorts, dragging guests away into the night. This woman openly calls herself a psychic in her Instagram bio. Some people are comparing this to rapture stories or end-time prophecies gone around, large numbers of people suddenly vanishing without explanation. Others think it's nothing more than attention-seeking talk. But throughout history, there have been cases where psychics or dreamers claim to see disasters before they happen. Most are vague and easily dismissed, but every so often, one lines up eerily close to reality. So is this woman really tapping into something, or is it all just coincidence and hype?
I was being at a resort, and all the power went out at the resort, and then people came in and started, there was no shooting, but there was like people trying to take people, which was kind of freaking me out. But the power went out at the resort specifically, and I think it might be more than one, but I'm just going to put this here and let you guys know what is to come.
A man had a terrifying encounter while driving late at night, so he went back and checked his dash cam footage, and sure enough, what he saw was even stranger than he remembered. On the side of the empty road, there stood a lone figure. At first, it looked like a woman in a bright red dress just standing there in the dark, but as the car got closer, things got unsettling. The figure wasn't solid. It appeared hazy, almost transparent, and where the head should have been, there was this hazy blurb. We cannot make out the facial features at all. Some say this is a spirit haunting the roadside. Others believe it could be an entity that only reveals itself under certain conditions, captured by chance on camera. Whatever it is, I wouldn't want to be the one driving past it, I can tell you that. What's going on in this footage? Someone was filming the sky when they noticed these strange patterns appearing and disappearing among the clouds. It looks like they weren't part of the natural sky at all. Some people are convinced this could be evidence of a cloaked craft hovering above us, bending light in a way that makes it flicker in and out of view. Others argue it's just a camera glitch, lens flare, or atmospheric distortion that happens when sunlight and clouds mix at certain angles. But this isn't the first time something like this has been spotted. Similar footage from around the world shows geometric or almost technological-looking shapes in the sky that seem too deliberate to be random clouds. So what do you think? Was this just a weather trick, or are we catching a glimpse of something hiding in plain sight? Sometimes the most unusual inventions are born out of strong emotions. Growing up in Taiwan, a young woman named Chen explained how challenging authority was seen as deeply disrespectful. One day during a disagreement in class, Chen felt so frustrated and angry that she cried. But instead of letting those tears represent weakness, she decided to turn them into something powerful. So she invented a device that collects tears, rapidly freezing them in just 20 seconds using carbon dioxide, and then fires them back through a spring-loaded launcher. It's a strange mix of science and symbolism, and the teacher who made her cry was impressed by the creativity and ended up supporting her work. This is a rather unique approach to let out some steam, don't you think? A Chicago resident filmed something strange in the night sky. It was this cluster of glowing lights moving together in formation. In the video, you can hear the person mention that this wasn't the first sighting that night. Apparently, he'd already seen another group of lights earlier, and now a second wave was appearing. The lights seem to move in a coordinated way, almost like they're aware of each other, gliding smoothly across the sky. To some, this screams UFO activity. On the other hand, skeptics argue it could be drones. Chicago has a lot of drone hobbyists, and sometimes groups of them do light shows that look like UFOs. The problem is, these didn't quite look like drones. They were too high up and there was no sound. So was it visitors from elsewhere, or just human-made tech putting on a show?
This is the second one. That's the second group.
These days, all you hear is aliens, aliens, aliens. People spotting extraterrestrial creatures here and there. Take a look at this footage. Gravediggers dig up a grave expecting some valuables, but what do they find? A tall, gray alien, eyes wide open. Now here's where it gets unsettling. The creature starts moving. The big questions hit you like a UFO sighting. How long has this otherworldly visitor been enjoying a nap in the grave, and what in the universe could explain its sudden wake-up call? Well, here's a different take on a night at the club. Forget the energetic beats and wild dance moves. In this peculiar scene, instead of people hitting the dance floor, they're opting for a more laid-back approach, lying on the ground. It's a departure from the typical club scene, and you might find yourself thinking, what's this all about? It's a bit on the boring side. Perhaps these folks are embracing a more relaxed vibe or have found a unique way to enjoy their night out. Different strokes for different folks, I suppose. What's the first thing you do when you're about to put on your shoes? If your answer is simply stick your feet in, you might want to rethink that habit.
Oh man, what is this thing? Oh my god, he is mad. That is a big spider.
In a shocking moment, a man found a very large spider lurking inside his shoe. Now, this particular spider didn't look like it could bite, but honestly, who wants to take the risk? In the clip, you'll see the man absolutely freak out as he hurriedly yanks off his shoe only to discover the unexpected intruder, a tarantula. Yes, a full-grown tarantula had made itself at home right inside his footwear. Believe it or not, this isn't an isolated incident. There are countless reports of people finding spiders and sometimes some things even more unsettling creatures hiding in their shoes. So next time before you slip your feet in, make sure to double check what might be lurking inside.
Always check your shoes.
There's a gigantic spider that climbed out of my shoe.
This video was captured by a woman during a casual stroll down the road when something unexpected fell from the sky, a tiny spear-shaped object made out of wood. Now, this wasn't just some twig or random debris. It had a distinct shape, almost resembling a miniature spear or sword with fine detail that made it look handcrafted. The strange part, it seemed to come from nowhere, just dropping down in front of her. Naturally, the woman was baffled. How could something like this fall from the sky unless it had been dropped by a small creature? That's when she had a whimsical thought. Could this tiny spear belong to a fairy? Maybe one had been flying by and accidentally let it slip from their grip. The size of the object, its design, and the mysterious way it appeared certainly added fuel to the idea of a magical explanation. While it's easy to dismiss, who's to say the strange things could be happening right above us? All right, let's move on to another odd one. If you pay attention to the footage, there's this strange creature floating in the river. It has this wing-like thing that flaps in the water as it swims. The big question that's on everyone's mind: what are we looking at? To that, the answer is simple. We don't know. Some mentioned it could be an undiscovered water-dwelling species, or perhaps an extraterrestrial being taking a leisurely dip in our waters. While these sound like a stretch, they're nothing compared to those who think it's a Pokemon. Personally, I don't know what to make of it, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this aquatic mystery. What are we looking at? A river dweller with a unique swimming style, or a visitor from outer space making a pit stop for a swim? Now, let me share a tale that will send shivers down your spine. A home security camera picked up this eerie footage that has left the homeowner spooked and on edge. In the footage, the homeowner steps into her car looking for a lighter, but little does she know something ghostly is about to unfold. A spectral figure materializes out of thin air near the building, strolling across the camera's view, only to vanish into the bushes on the other side. Here's the kicker. The homeowner herself didn't witness or notice a thing. It was a furry residence, that is, her dogs, that set the alarm bells ringing. One of them even gives chase after the ghostly entity until it mysteriously fades away. What's your take on this spooky home security saga? A ghostly apparition or just a well-timed play of shadows? This footage was taken by a hiker in Michigan, capturing what could be one of the most terrifying moments of his life. As he was filming his adventure through the dense woods, out of nowhere, this enormous bipedal hairy creature walked by. The creature was massive, towering over the trees and bushes, its stride heavy and deliberate. It looked like something straight out of a legend. The man, recounting his experience, said he was paralyzed with fear, unable to move as he watched the creature pass. His heart raced, but the creature, seemingly unaware of his presence, continued on its path, disappearing into the wilderness. The hiker couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. He believed he'd come face to face with none other than Bigfoot. What's even more interesting is how close this encounter was. The man was mere feet away from the legendary cryptid, and yet the creature didn't seem to notice him at all. It's a chilling thought. How many other times might Bigfoot have been that close to someone without them even knowing? Could this footage be one of the rare encounters with the elusive creature? How far do you think the government will go to keep its eyes on you? Well, you know what? Before you answer that, watch this. A family noticed some strange birds on their property that just would not go away. Worried, they started paying attention and recording them, till one day they realized the birds were dead. They decided to leave them alone. What you are currently seeing are the remains of those birds. The only problem is, these birds have been dead for about 8 weeks. Why is that a problem, you ask? Well, when living things die, you are likely to find maggots, worms, and a little, if not total, composition after a few days. These birds, on the other hand, look exactly the same after 8 weeks of being dead. This naturally got the family curious, and they started to investigate. They got closer, took the birds, and noticed that they had chips in them. Why would birds have chips in them unless they aren't birds at all? The family is actually convinced that they're drones. 10 years ago, I would have laughed at this, but after everything we've seen in recent years and some of the inventions we've shared on this page, it wouldn't be too surprising. The big question now is, if they are really drones, why are they being watched, and who could have been responsible? Now, many who saw the clip believe it's the government, while others think the whole thing is just fake. What say you guys? Someone's on a late-night stroll, and if you have followed this channel long enough, you know he's definitely encountering something strange. This time he encounters a creature that's part stick, part scorpion. I know it's unconventional, but it has the appearance of a stick bug, but with some extras. Tucked behind its wings is what looks like a scorpion sting. Turns out it's like a bug in stealth mode. In moments of perceived threat, these remarkable creatures transform their benign appearance into a spectacle of intimidation. The wings part to unveil what seems to be a scorpion sting, an elaborate ruse designed to startle and deter potential predators. Nature never ceases to amaze us with its ingenious adaptations. What are your thoughts on this stick bug's defense strategy? Next, we have a clip of two motorcyclists cruising down the road, one with a camera capturing the journey. The twist? The camera-wielding rider overtakes his friend and rides ahead, but when he stops to check on his buddy, there is no sign of him, just the lone motorcycle cruising behind. Where could the missing rider have gone? Did he take an unexpected detour, or is there a more extraterrestrial explanation like an alien abduction? There have been stories of people getting taken away in broad daylight by aliens for unknown reasons. Maybe this is just one of them. What do you think? Take a look at this display of nature's power and terror. Someone captured this breathtaking footage of what appears to be a funnel cloud turning into a tornado. This footage was taken in Chihuahua, Mexico. Imagine standing there, watching as the whirling funnel clouds descends from the sky, gradually touching down and transforming into a full-blown tornado. The raw power and unpredictability of nature in action are both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Tornadoes are one of the most powerful and destructive weather phenomena on Earth, capable of causing immense damage in a matter of minutes. The sight of one forming before your eyes is a stark reminder of the sheer force of nature and how small we are in comparison. Have you ever witnessed a tornado or other extreme weather events in person? Share your experience. Archaeologists have made a jaw-dropping discovery in Egypt, a pharaoh with a reptilian face. This creature, said to have a leathery texture to its skin, has led them to believe that it's not a statue but an actual being. This creature stands an astonishing 9 feet tall and has a wound under its left armpit, which archaeologists believe must have been the cause of its death. This fascinating find was uncovered in an unmarked grave in the Valley of the Kings, a place known for its rich history and royal burials. The implications of this discovery are enormous. Could this be proof of reptilian beings on Earth? For years, theories about reptilian creatures, often linked to myths and conspiracy theories, have been floating around. This find could potentially validate those stories. Either way, the discovery raises many questions. Who was this creature? How did it come to be buried in the Valley of the Kings? What was its role in ancient Egyptian society? And most intriguingly, could there have been more of these beings living among humans in the past? A man was driving through the neighborhood, enjoying the tranquility of the surroundings, when he spotted another man walking on the pavement, pushing a baby trolley that was engulfed in flames. Tell me that won't freak you out if you see it.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Fire. Are we fire?
Intrigued by the peculiar sight, the driver decides to stop and ask what he's doing. To this, the man responds, "Fire." His response and appearance show he's not okay, but what could be wrong with him? Some are thinking maybe he's on something, while others are asking, could it be mental health stuff? No matter the reason, everyone can agree on one thing. Seeing a guy calmly walking around with a flaming trolley is just downright bizarre and a little heartbreaking. Just a quick reminder before the next clip comes, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed, could you do so right now? You wouldn't want me to send an alien after you now, would you? Now let's dive into this auditory mystery.
Listen.
Whoa!
Stay inside, baby.
Picture this. A woman steps out of her home near Cheyenne and, surprise, she hears these strange noises echoing from who knows where. It's like a mysterious soundtrack of a movie, but happening in real life.
What the fuck is that? Okay, but really, what the fuck?
Now here's the twist. It's not the usual mysterious trumpet sounds from the clouds. This is a whole new level of sonic mystery. And guess what? It went down recently on the 2nd of February 2024, to be precise. Now what do you think is causing these unexplained sounds? Is it just nature playing tricks, or maybe a signal from the unknown? Share your thoughts.
Wait for it.
Just look at this footage right here. The clouds in the sky appear to be in flames. How is this possible? Well, it's not as impossible as it seems. What you're witnessing is a phenomenon known as a fire rainbow or circumhorizontal arc. This happens when sunlight passes through ice crystals in cirrus clouds high in the atmosphere. The light refracts and creates a spectrum of colors, giving the appearance that the clouds are on fire. These fire rainbows are rare and require very specific conditions to form. The sun has to be high in the sky at an angle of 58 degrees or more, and the ice crystals in the clouds must be plate-shaped and aligned horizontally to refract the light just right. So while it might look like the sky itself is burning, it's actually a stunning optical illusion created by nature. Have you heard of the infamous Alpine Loop sighting in Utah? The Alpine Loop, a scenic byway winding through the Uinta-Wasatch National Forest, is renowned for its breathtaking views and natural beauty. But it's also known for something far more mysterious: sightings of unusual lights or objects in the sky. Drivers and hikers along the Alpine route have reported seeing bright lights, unexplained aerial movements, and other strange occurrences that defy easy explanation. In this particular footage, a hiker was exploring the Alpine Loop when he came across something truly astonishing. Moving from afar among the dried-up tall grass was a dark, massive figure towering over the nearby trees. The owner of the footage believes this is a Bigfoot sighting. Given the history of the strange occurrences and unexplained sightings in the Alpine Loop area, this footage adds another layer of intrigue. The possibility of encountering a Bigfoot, a creature that has fueled countless myths and stories, makes the sighting even more captivating. So what are your thoughts? Is this footage genuine evidence of Bigfoot lurking in the Alpine Loop, or could there be another explanation?
How large do you think what you're seeing is? Would you believe me if I told you it's not some small creation, but a large rocky formation? Its discovery has got both paranormal enthusiasts and geologists excited. Why, you ask? If this is a naturally occurring rock formation, it's quite unique and would give geologists a field day trying to figure out how it came to be. If it's not, there's a possibility of it being a large petrified being. At least that's what the paranormal enthusiasts think, and that also opens a whole world of possibilities. By now, it takes something truly unusual to make me pause, but this creature sighting, it's definitely one for the books. A guy was visiting his friend and took a quick trip to the bathroom. That's when he spotted something squirming on the floor. This creature is unlike anything you'd expect to find indoors. It looks like a crab, but without any legs, and instead of a hard shell, it's fleshy. To make it even stranger, this creature had no obvious head or facial features, just a simple featureless form that wiggled around on the tiles. So what are we even looking at here? Some suggest it could be a rare legless insect larvae or a unique marine creature that somehow found its way inside. But the real mystery is how it got there in the first place. Could it have hitched a ride somehow, or are we looking at something new, maybe even undiscovered?
A passenger flying over the enigmatic Area 51 captured this fascinating sight below. Amidst the barren desert landscape, they spotted a mountain-like structure that stood out against the rugged terrain. As much as I would want to confirm their thoughts of it being alien, what they witnessed was none other than the Mud Springs volcano. Yeah, at least that's what the government and its scientists want us to believe. The Mud Springs volcano, a dormant volcanic formation, rises prominently in the area. Its rugged slopes and unique geological features make it a striking landmark in this mysterious region. Despite its dormancy, the volcano's presence adds to the intrigue of the already secretive and heavily guarded Area 51. Area 51 is a place shrouded in secrecy and the subject of numerous conspiracy theories. It's known for its association with UFO sightings and classified military projects. So could there be more to this volcano, or is this all there is to it? Meet the galaxy frog, and no, it's not from outer space, although it's a black frog adorned with stunning white spots. This remarkable amphibian is called the galaxy frog. Its unique patterns of white spots scattered across its dark skin make it look like a piece of the night sky brought to life. It's no wonder it's called the galaxy frog. It really does resemble a miniature galaxy, with stars dotting the dark expanse of its body. These frogs are not just a visual marvel, they're also an important part of the ecosystem. Frogs like the galaxy frog play crucial roles in maintaining the health of their habitats by controlling insect populations and serving as indicators of environmental health. Their presence often signals a well-balanced ecosystem.
One night, a man was out and about when he began to hear unsettling sounds drifting from the woods around him. At first, he heard an eerie screeching, sharp and unsettling. But before he could even try to pinpoint the source, the sound shifted into something that sounded like a scream, long and haunting, echoing through the trees. What made it even stranger was the way the sounds seemed to come from everywhere at once. They were moving, surrounding him, yet he couldn't quite catch a glimpse of anything. Just a chilling blend of screeches, screams, and strange shuffling noises in the darkness. These kinds of sounds have been reported by campers and hikers in remote areas, often linked to folklore or attributed to creatures we can't easily explain. Was he hearing wild animals or something else lurking in the shadows?
¿Necesitas ayuda? Hola.
A motorcyclist was riding late one night when he stopped at the entrance of a path leading through the woods. He stopped to check his GPS to make sure he was on the right route. You can hear the engine still humming in the background. But here's where it gets eerie. Underneath the engine's rumble, there's a faint sound of someone sobbing. The rider looks around, confused, and calls out, thinking maybe someone's in distress and needs help. But there's no reply, only the sound of weeping. It feels like the tale of La Llorona, the weeping woman. Could it really be her, or maybe a restless spirit lingering in that area? What do you think? Can you spot what's odd in this image? Take a close look. If you guessed Bigfoot, you're absolutely right. On the right side of the image, you can see a massive creature towering over the trees around it. The beast looks to be at least 8 feet tall or more, dwarfing everything in its path. Just take a look at its head. It's distinctly domed, and you can clearly make out its massive arms hanging by its side. What's even more striking is the clarity of the image. This might just be one of the clearest sightings of Bigfoot ever recorded. What do you think?
Human face masks have been making rounds lately, with people noticing individuals whose facial features seem unnervingly artificial, almost like they're wearing a mask. It's eerie, as though someone is hiding beneath, concealed from the naked eyes. You see these faces that don't quite move naturally, eyes that lack depth, skin that seems too smooth or stiff. But what or who could be lurking beneath these masks? Some people speculate these could be interdimensional beings, slipping into our world and trying to blend in without raising suspicion. Others throw out theories about reptilians, the famous conspiracy suggesting that shape-shifting creatures walk among us. Could these masks be part of their disguise, a way to interact with humans while keeping their true form hidden? Or maybe these masks belong to regular humans with sinister motives, aiming to deceive us for some unknown reason. With technology so advanced, could this also be a new type of hyper-realistic disguise designed to make us question what's real and what's not? It's unsettling to think about. What's truly behind these faces? Is it someone or something trying to get closer to us without being noticed?
Look at this. There's pictures of girls on here, bro. Serial killers. What the?
This footage is definitely unsettling. It shows a guy discovering a collection of photos of girls, each one marked with a number covering the inner frame of the lower bunk bed. There's no explanation given, which leaves us with more questions than answers. Why were these photos placed there? Who are the people in the pictures, and what do the numbers mean? It's possible it's just a strange prank or someone's odd hobby, but without context, it feels eerie and mysterious. Could there be a hidden purpose?
Look at this. There's pictures of girls on here, bro. Serial killers. What the?
When you head out camping in the woods, it's essential to be fully prepared and know exactly where you are. Bringing some kind of protective item like a weapon is often a wise choice, not only for wild animals but for general safety. Take this guy's experience as a lesson. He went camping and woke up in the middle of the night to a terrifying situation. Something was outside his tent trying to get in. Just look at how petrified he is, almost in tears, and all he has for protection is a small pocket knife. The creature outside was hissing loudly, sounding like it might be a big cat. It was scratching at the tent, though luckily the tent material seemed too slippery and scratch-proof for its claws. Smartly, the man didn't risk going outside to check, but he was clearly shaken. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be his first and last camping trip. Moving on from bird drones likely being used by the government, we move on to extraterrestrials peeping extraterrestrials. And no, I'm not joking. Take a look. This was recorded by a man who felt he was being watched. He moved to his window and his eyes couldn't believe what he was seeing. He took out his camera and recorded and stood there watching with its weirdly shaped head and eyes. Spooked by this, the young lad uploaded it online, hoping it was some sort of prank. It turned out that no one around his neighborhood had seen this. The paranormal community picked up on it, though, and thought it might be an extraterrestrial exploration. While that sounds interesting and a tad convincing, Julius had a lot to say on the matter. He pointed out that the clip was intentionally made blurry to prevent the CGI in the clip from being obvious. He adds that even if there were aliens on our planet, they won't be moving from house to house peeping through windows. They'll have highly advanced technology for that. Sounds convincing, but what do you guys think? Do you agree with him? A woman had gone to a cemetery to pay her respects to a deceased relative. It was a peaceful visit, or so she thought, until something chilling happened. As she walked near one of the walls, her attention was suddenly drawn to something eerie, something she couldn't believe she was seeing. There, in a small hole in the cemetery wall, was a face. A pale, haunting face stared directly at her. Its skin was ghostly white, almost blending with the dull stone of the wall, and its expression was disturbingly blank. For a moment, she froze, unable to process what she was seeing. In a place like a cemetery, the last thing anyone expects is to see something or someone peeking through a hole in the wall. Terrified, she quickly realized that this wasn't an ordinary person. The pale complexion, the unnatural stillness, it had to be a ghost. What else could it be in such a place? A home security camera recently captured a man in his yard, crouched by a small fire he'd started in the center of his property. He was burning something. What exactly, we don't know, but his calmness was about to be interrupted. Out of nowhere, the fire began to grow as if some invisible force was feeding it. It started to shift, spinning into a circular formation like a fiery whirlwind. The flames swirled and rose, almost creating a vortex of fire. You can see the man's alarm as he jumps back, clearly shocked and unsure of what he's witnessing. Some speculate that this could be more than just a natural phenomenon. There are mysterious entities known as fire sprites, though to be as supernatural beings or manifestations that can interact with flames, causing them to take on unusual formations or intensities. So, is that the case here, or just a coincidence? This footage captured on the trail camera in Connorsville is intriguing. The camera, set up to catch local deer, instead picked up images of a large bipedal figure moving through the trees. It was so dark, it was difficult to see the creature's details, but from what was visible, it appeared to be about 9 feet tall and bulky, matching typical descriptions of Bigfoot sightings. Residents reportedly heard strange noises from the forest at night, initially assuming they were typical animal sounds. However, with these photos and other reports of large footprints, everyone is convinced it's a Bigfoot. If it is indeed a Bigfoot, this footage could be a rare catch, but as with all mysterious footage, it could also be a trick or shadows or even a hoax. But what are your thoughts on it? Moving on to something more realistic, we've got tracks that were discovered near the Meek Cabin Mountains. You see these footprints, don't you? Just at first glance, you can tell that although those prints look human, they are in no way human dimensions. The individual who discovered these prints stated that this wasn't the first time his family had come into contact with such prints near the Meat Cabin Mountains. The area has long been described as a Bigfoot hotspot, and although he himself hadn't seen a Bigfoot in the area, his sister had. The experience was allegedly so serious and so traumatizing for the lady that she's refused to talk about it. For a Bigfoot enthusiast, seeing the big guy will be nothing more than a dream come true. Any silence would be in awe and not in fear. For the ordinary person, however, the response would be one of shock and fear. This is probably what's happened to his sister. How can we be sure she really saw a Bigfoot? Well, most individuals who've been to the area described seeing such a being there. And it was not just a hearsay kind of thing. There were always footprints belonging to a huge being or creature there, just like seen in the capture. What do you guys think, though? Real or not? Let me know in the comment section. Here we have yet another strange and mesmerizing creature discovered in the depths of the ocean. This time, we have some information on it. Meet the Alidawilami, a marine worm that looks like something straight out of a science fiction movie. The Alidawilami is a species of polycut worm, known for its striking appearance and unusual characteristics. Its body is segmented, and it possesses numerous bristles along its sides, which it uses for movements. But what truly sets this creature apart is its otherworldly appearance. With its vibrant colors and almost alien-like structure, it looks like it belongs on a distant planet rather than in our oceans. Polychaete worms like the Alidawilami play crucial roles in their ecosystems. They burrow into the seabed, helping to aerate the sediment and recycle nutrients. Despite their importance, many of these creatures remain relatively unknown, hidden away in the vast and unexplored depths of the ocean.
A man captured an intriguing sight on his drive home late one night. There was a round, spinning object high in the sky, unmistakably a UFO by most definitions. With its fast rotation and radiant lights, this object seemed to be moving with a distinct purpose, gliding across the night sky. Although it was too dark to make out every detail, the lights outlining its shape highlighted its rapid spinning motion. The mysterious movement and speed, combined with the circular design, make this encounter especially fascinating. In any case, this is yet another addition to the growing list of unusual sky phenomenon that continues to spark debates and curiosity about what might be out there. One night at the Trail of Tears State Park, a man spotted a large, dark figure in the woods, crouching in the shadows. At first, he thought it was just a bear moving on all fours, but as it edged deeper into the darkness, the creature suddenly rose on two legs, prompting him to pull out his phone and start recording. What's eerie is that when the creature stood, its posture didn't resemble a bear's. It had a more human-like stance, which led many viewers to speculate it might actually be a Sasquatch. Although we typically hear reports of Sasquatch sightings involving upright movement, there are also accounts of these creatures being able to move on all fours, similar to how a bear might. Could this sighting be genuine evidence of a Sasquatch, or is it just another case of mistaken identity?
This strange-looking creature was spotted at night on some muddy grass. At first glance, it resembles a very large salamander, but there are some distinct differences that make it stand out. It has a smooth, pink, hairless body with pronounced wrinkles running down its back. The head is especially unusual, with weird shapes and protrusions that don't match any known animal. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie, but the footage seems too real to be edited. The way it moves, the light reflecting off its skin, everything about it looks authentic. So here's the big question. What is this creature? Despite searching, I couldn't find anything that matched its description. It doesn't fit into any known category of amphibians or reptiles, and its unique features make it a real mystery. If anyone has seen something like this before or has any idea what it might be, please share in the comments. Next, we've got an interesting discovery made in the middle of nowhere. The ground appears to be dried clay with a spiral drawn on it. Surrounding the spiral were mirrors with white frames, except for one. In all the mirrors, you could see the reflection of the mirror opposite it, except in the black framed mirror. The only thing reflecting in that one was the clay ground. The spiral is a symbol often associated with spiritual journeys, cycles, and transformation. Its presence here suggests that whoever created this arrangement might be invoking or channeling some form of energy or intention. The mirrors, reflecting each other, create an infinite loop, a visual effect that could symbolize the endless nature of certain mystical concepts, such as time, consciousness, or the universe. The black framed mirror is particularly unsettling. Its failure to reflect anything but the ground breaks the symmetry and suggests a deeper, perhaps darker purpose. Could this be an area used for witchcraft or black magic? If you have any ideas or have encountered something similar, share your experience and thoughts with us in the comments section. We'll be reading.
A woman in China caught something bizarre on camera one evening, a large rectangular object floating through the sky. It was illuminated with lights along the edges as it moved through the night sky. China is known for its advanced tech and innovation, but even locals were baffled by this sight, unsure what it could be. Could this be a glimpse of a cutting-edge experimental technology, or even a holographic projection, or maybe, just maybe, it's a genuine UFO sighting? Aaron's money is on the aliens. Methinks the aliens are helping the Chinese advance. What say you? In this unusual footage from Prague, a resident captured something truly spectacular. A white cube-shaped UFO floating effortlessly in the sky. Unlike most typical UFO sightings that are often saucer-shaped or orb-like, this cube stands out with its clear angular edges. It appears to hover without any visible means of propulsion. The cube didn't make any noise and seems eerily still without the usual wobbling or drifting you'd expect from a floating object. The footage, taken in broad daylight, makes it even harder to dismiss this as a trick of the light or a drone. Reports of cube-shaped UFOs are rare but not unheard of, with similar sightings occasionally reported around the world. This disturbing footage was shared online, and it's unlike anything we've seen before. In the video, there is a person sitting on a train, but something is terribly wrong. The figure appears to be headless, its body bent backwards in an unnatural position. As if that wasn't strange enough, a thick, dark liquid is pouring out from where the head should be, slowly spilling onto the floor of the train. The sight is unsettling to say the least.
The liquid looks almost too dark to be blood, giving it an otherworldly, sinister quality. But the question remains, what exactly is happening here? Is this some kind of elaborate hoax or special effect, or is it something much darker, something that can't be explained away so easily? If you were a daredevil with an appetite for paragliding, this next one's for you. This paraglider assumed he was all alone up there and decided to have fun and immortalize his adventure using the gadget known to mortals as camera. As he recorded himself, he noticed that there was something else up there with him. He started to film it, and after filming for a while, it hit him. It was not a machine or small aircraft, it was actually a small being flying through the crowds. Try as much as he did, he couldn't put a finger on what he was dealing with. He uploaded the clip online, which brought different views and opinions. Some thought it was a man with a jetpack, whereas others thought it was a balloon. Another mentioned a Black Knight satellite, but I'm not sure that's it. You've seen the clip, right? So what do you think?
Vean. Mira. Ahí está, es un nahual. Espérame, gua.
A group of friends were out for a late-night walk when they stumbled upon something truly eerie. Ahead of them, on a secluded path deep within the woods, a figure appeared crouched low in an odd, almost unnatural position. It seemed to be watching them, though it didn't attempt to get any closer. One of the men filming the encounter called it a nahual, a creature rooted in Mesoamerican folklore. Nahuals are often said to be shapeshifters, able to take on animal forms or even appear as dark, elusive beings to protect themselves from prying eyes. Could this really be a nahual?
Vean. Mira. Ahí está, es un nahual. Espérame, gua.
While touring the Wulingyun National Park in China, a man noticed something truly strange in the sky. Take a look. You see it too, don't you? A triangular craft with a single round light underneath. The craft moved smoothly across the sky, disappearing briefly behind a cliff before reappearing and then zooming off at an incredible speed, almost as if it vanished in a thin air. This sighting certainly resembles the classic UFO look many describe, especially with its triangular shape and the rapid speed it achieved. But with the advancements in CGI, it's difficult to determine if this is genuine or simply a well-executed digital creation. What do you think? A homeowner shared a puzzling security camera clip from his porch. In the footage, a box that was sitting still suddenly slides forward on its own without any external force. There was no wind or visible interference to explain the movement. This eerie event has sparked a lot of speculation. Could it be paranormal activity, with a ghost deciding it needed a package for some otherworldly delivery? Or could there be a more grounded explanation, like vibrations, static electricity, or an animal out of frame nudging the box? I don't have answers, and the paranormal community can't seem to agree on one thing, so can you help? This footage tells an eerie yet oddly charming story. A dog owner, curious about the commotion from the night before, reviewed his home security camera footage only to uncover something truly mysterious. His black dog, full of energy, was seen running around and playing with another dog, but this other dog had white fur that appeared almost translucent with a ghostly quality to its movements. The two dogs were joyfully chasing each other, their play filled with boundless energy. Yet the mysterious white dog didn't belong to the household, and its otherworldly appearance made the owner uneasy. Was it a stray that just happened to pass by, or something more supernatural like a ghostly canine companion visiting for a night of fun? Regardless of what it was, the black dog didn't seem to mind. It was simply enjoying the moment. What do you think? Since I've mentioned Nessie, we got to talk about the big guy, aka Bigfoot. A Bigfoot hunter set up his trail camera at a spot he believed to be an active Bigfoot area, and what he captured left him completely stunned. A large creature emerged from the woods and began pulling a thick tree trunk right out of the ground with no effort at all. Then, as if to prove its strength, it tossed the tree aside like it weighed nothing. Now, this wasn't just some small branch, this was a full-grown tree. Yeah, it didn't really have leaves, but it was still a full-grown tree, which means it was heavy and had some weight to it, and yet this thing flung it around effortlessly. Looking at the footage, it doesn't appear staged. There's no clear sign of machinery or any visible trickery. If this is real, it's some of the most compelling evidence of Bigfoot's strength ever recorded. If it's not, kudos to whoever did his best to fool us. He must, however, be told that we're not amused by this. Not at all. It's not funny. Aaron, however, feels this might be legit, but what about you guys? Not everyone believes in the supernatural, and that's completely fine, but some people live to learn the hard way. This man had been hearing strange noises from his basement for a while. At first, he brushed it off, but one night when he heard the sound again, he finally decided to check it out. He grabbed his camera and went downstairs. As he panned the camera around, his light landed on something. It was a dark figure standing by the wall, completely still. The moment he noticed it, his instincts kicked in. He panicked, turned around, and ran back up the stairs, slamming the door behind him. Up until that night, he had never entertained the idea of the supernatural, but after what he saw, he was convinced. Whatever that thing was, it was not human. So what do you think it was? This is definitely not a scene you see every day. A man driving on the streets of Valencia came across a shocking and eerie scene. In the opposite lane, cars were scattered all over. Some flipped upside down, others resting on their sides. It looked as if a tornado had selectively wreaked havoc on just one side of the road. What's puzzling is that there's no official information or explanation about what might have caused this strange event. Could it have been a freak weather incident like a sudden microburst, a localized windstorm, or something even more unusual such as a mass accident caused by an unexplained phenomenon? The footage has left many viewers scratching their heads. I tried to do some digging around but didn't have enough information to help me out. Does anyone have an idea what happened here? If so, can you educate us in the comments section? This next video comes from a backyard CCTV camera with motion detection. At first glance, it seems unremarkable. The footage captures a quiet night with a fence in view. Then, A leaf drifts down, triggering the motion sensor, and that's when something unusual appears. Orbs. They all spread out of view, leaving two faint glowing orbs floating in the air, one above and one below. They hover silently. Their movement is smooth, almost purposeful as they drift about the yard. Some dismiss this as dust particles or light reflections, while others believe it could be something more mysterious, spirits, energy, or unexplained phenomena. I think this is one I would want to hear your opinion on. What do you think is going on here? Someone was taking the elevator when they suddenly heard something unsettling, cries echoing through the walls. Curious and a little unnerved, they pulled out their camera and started looking for the cracks in the elevator wall. And that's when they saw it. A hand reaching out of the darkness from within the wall, but there was no one there. No sign of a person, just that ghostly hand vanishing back into the shadows and the cries. So what exactly was that? A lost spirit trapped in the building's walls, or something far more unsettling? Speaking of ghosts, here's a story that will make you think twice about hiking alone. A couple had taken a trip to Colorado, spending their time exploring the wilderness, snapping photographs, and just enjoying nature. Everything seemed perfectly normal until they started to go through the pictures they'd taken. One photo in particular stood out. It was a simple shot of just the husband standing by a tree taken by his wife. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual, but when they zoomed in, they noticed something eerie. Behind him, partially obscured by the trees, was a faint, ghostly figure of a child. The figure appeared pale, almost transparent, with an unsettling stillness, just standing there staring directly at the man. According to the couple, they had been completely alone at the time. They hadn't noticed anyone nearby, and they definitely didn't recall seeing a child in the woods. Even stranger, they didn't feel anything unusual. No cold spots, no eerie sensations, nothing to hint that there was a ghost nearby. Perplexed and a bit shaken, they uploaded it online, specifically in paranormal groups hoping for answers. As with the previous capture, many who saw this believed it was a ghost. The big question now is, whose ghost, and why was it hanging around them? This clip comes all the way from Europe, and it's got the paranormal community talking. They reported hearing strange aircraft noises in the sky, so they began filming. That's when they captured a black sphere silently floating across the sky. But what made this even more bizarre was the fighter jet trailing right behind it. The big question here is, was the jet escorting the sphere, or was it chasing it down? Without more details, it's hard to say what's going on. While some members of the community are intrigued and trying to interpret the events of the clip, a few are skeptical that it's even real. This man, for instance, states that fighter jets wouldn't go after an orb because they couldn't capture it. For this reason, he thinks it's fake. Some believed it was real and stated they'd seen a number of clips like this. Personally, I have my reservations, but what do you guys also think? And just like that, we're back to another Ring camera capture, and guess what? There's a ghost in it. Confused? Well, pay attention. We start the clip with two men walking toward the road. By the time they get there and move to the other side, there's only one person. What happened to the other? Well, no one knows for sure. The funny thing is, the one who stepped out of the house, who was a mailman, didn't even notice there was someone there. It took the woman whose property it was reviewing her ring cam tapes to see that the mailman might have run into someone who just disappeared in a thin air. She shared this online and it quickly went viral. Many bought into the idea that this was a genuine ghost encounter, whereas others felt there had to be more to it, just not the paranormal kind. One person even mentions that it could be that the men are walking side by side, but it doesn't show on screen because of the angle. When it comes to things like this, I'd love to hear your opinions, so what do you think? At some point, scientists and engineers in the tech field need to step back and ask themselves if they're taking robotics too far. Just look at this robot demonstration footage. It's both impressive and unsettling. A man places a large stone on the robot and smashes it with a massive hammer. The stone shatters into pieces, but the robot is unharmed, not even a scratch. Then, in another clip, he hits the robot with a stick, but instead of breaking the machine, the stick itself snaps apart. He even tries using a glass bottle on the robot's head, but it's as if nothing happened. And then the man kicks the robot to the ground, and in a chillingly smooth motion, it gets right back up like it was nothing. It's incredible, sure, but, well, how should we feel about this? We're building indestructible machines, meanwhile we as humans remain fragile. At what point does innovation cross into something we should be concerned about? You know those clips where someone takes a picture and doesn't notice something scary until much later? Well, this is one of those circumstances. Before I tell you the story behind this one, take a good look at the capture. Do you notice anything, say, weird? On the right side of the capture, you'll see a shadowy figure or being. Personally, when I saw this, the first thing that came to mind was a ghostly nun, but not sure what you guys may be seeing on your end. According to the individual who took and uploaded the picture, he rented out a cabin and thought it would be cool to take a picture. So, he had his high beams on and then captured the moment. It wasn't until several days later that he went through the images and noticed this. He's not sure how to feel about it, and I guess it's a shock. If it were me, however, going back there is an option I'm never taking. This woman's chilling home encounter has left the internet divided. One quiet night, while feeding her cats and casually filming the moment, she caught something terrifying on camera. From the corner of the room, a boy suddenly appeared. He had a bushy afro hair, a plain white t-shirt and shorts. His eyes seemed to glow unnaturally in the dim light, and he just stood there silently watching her. The twist? The woman lives alone. She uploaded the footage online, claiming she had no idea who the boy was or how he even got into her house. Naturally, the video blew up, with some viewers convinced the boy was a ghost. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some eagle-eyed viewers spotted the boy's reflection on the floor. This small detail sparked skepticism, as popular lore suggests ghosts don't cast reflections. Could this be an elaborate hoax, or is there more to the story? What do you think? A genuine paranormal encounter, or just another internet stunt? Let's revisit a piece of footage that gained widespread attention back in 2024. A carpenter was using a drone to survey a wooded area, hoping to spot a mother bear that he had been tracking. However, instead of the bear, the drone captured something far more astonishing: this gigantic creature. As the footage plays out, you can see the creature walking gracefully through the footage. It took enormous strides that left many people questioning if it could actually be a human. The gait and stride length were simply too expansive to belong to a person, so whatever this being was, it was distinctly different from us. The footage sparked debates online, with enthusiasts praising it as some of the best evidence of Bigfoot captured on camera. Many argued that this sighting was credible due to the creature's distinctive features and the way it moved effortlessly through the trees. While it's impressive footage, I would want to hear your thoughts on it. No, my car is just fine, if you were wondering. Speaking of things we wouldn't want to face, take a look at this clip. This was recorded by a woman whose kids kept hearing her call them in one direction of the house. It wasn't just her voice, though. They could hear knocks as well. The odd thing was she hadn't called any of them. The voice they were hearing wasn't hers, although it sounded like her. Once she found them and understood the situation, they followed the voice and knocks, and it led them to a car. Pay attention to the backseat window. Do you see it? There's a face there. Fun fact, there wasn't supposed to be anyone there. In fact, they didn't even know who or what was there. They recorded the clip and placed it online, hoping someone could explain what was going on, and the paranormal community did not disappoint. Many stated that it had to be a ghost in the car. What they couldn't agree on was why it was in the car in the first place and why it wanted to draw the woman's kids into the car. You've seen the clip. Have you any ideas? Next, we got a clip from someone who believes they captured a fairy on camera. Take a look. They claim to have seen the creature at the window, and as they got closer, this is what they found. A tiny, naked, humanoid figure with wings, and just as they approached, it immediately flew off. At first glance, it looks like a fairy, but something about it feels off. I don't know, I just can't place my finger on it. Could this be genuine proof of these mystical beings, or does it seem a little bit too perfect, almost edited? If you still don't believe in ghosts after all this time on this channel, this clip might just change your mind. In the clip, we see a girl opening a door to her home. While she's doing that, there's something going on in the background. There's a translucent being or a creature moving from left to the right. Once she enters, she hangs around and stands in one spot. This footage was recorded by the home's Ring camera, hence the quality. The family didn't really notice that there was something out there with their daughter until they reviewed the clip. Unable to come to terms with the clip and conclude on what it might be, the family uploaded online, where many thought it was a ghost. There were some who also thought it was probably a camera glitch since the recording was being done at night. You've seen the clip with your own eyes, so what do you think? While driving one evening, a driver spotted something unsettling on the side of the highway. A dark, shadowy mass that vaguely resembled a humanoid figure strolling along the pavement. What made this sight so eerie was its solid and real appearance. It didn't seem like a ghostly apparition or a trick of the light. Instead, it stood out darkly against the dimly lit surroundings as if it had a tangible presence. The figure's unsettling nature raises so many questions. Was it just an ordinary person walking in an unusual spot? Could it have been some kind of creature or perhaps something else entirely? Highways at night are already mysterious places, but sightings like this add an extra layer of unease. What do you think this figure could have been? A harmless passerby, a creature, or something out of the ordinary? A group of deep-sea divers were out in the ocean when they captured this incredible footage. As they filmed, a massive creature swam past them with incredible grace and speed. Just look at its size and the way it moves through the water. This is a fin whale, the second largest animal on Earth right after the blue whale. These majestic creatures can grow up to 85 feet, 26 meters long, and weigh as much as 80 tons. Despite their massive size, they're known as the greyhounds of the sea because they can reach speeds of up to 25 miles an hour, making them one of the fastest large whales. Sadly, they were heavily hunted, but fin whales are now protected. However, they still face threats like ship strikes and ocean noise pollution. Seeing one of these giants in the wild is an extremely rare and breathtaking experience. Speaking of things to be concerned about, take a good look at this photograph. Does something seem odd to you? No? Well, when you zoom in on the photo, you notice that there's a shadow being or person standing next to the third lady on the extreme right. Do you see it now? I know what some of you might be thinking. Come on, Steve, it's dark. Anyone can look like that. It could also just be the darkness taking form. And normally, I'd say you were right, but how do you explain the second image from the same night of the first image, by the same guests at the same venue? If you pay attention to the second image, you'll notice there's a reflection in the glass. That's definitely not normal. When you enhance the image and take a good look at the face, you realize it's disfigured. I know what you'd say, it could be anyone at the event, and you would be right. Normally, but this is different. We got another picture taken by another tourist in the same location at night, and we see the face again. This time it's a bit more detailed than the previous, but it's still distorted. Once these were uploaded online, the community felt there was something roaming the location, something otherworldly. You've seen the evidence we've gathered on this, so what do you think of the whole thing? What is this creature walking across the ground? Its back is covered in what appears to be sharp, nail-like structures or possibly pieces of wood protruding from its body. These unusual features give it a distinct and intriguing appearance, almost resembling a tiny armored vehicle. As it moves, the textures and colors of its back catch the light, creating a captivating display. What could this fascinating insect be? Well, I did some research, and it turns out this isn't AI. Who knew? This little guy is a case moth. For those unfamiliar with them, case moth caterpillars, also known as bagworm moth caterpillars, are the larvae of moths that build protective cases out of silk and other materials. It turns out they're pretty common and are found worldwide. While they may look nice and interesting, some species can be destructive to plant life. Now that I know they're real, a part of me wants one. What about you? Next, we've got this intriguing footage that shows a small frog floating in a pool of water. What makes it truly bizarre is the pair of wings where its upper limbs should be. The frog uses its lower limbs to propel itself through the water. The person behind the camera scoops the creature out of the water with their hand, showing it up close. Its appearance looks remarkably real, with no signs of digital manipulation or CGI effects. But if this isn't clever editing, what could it be? Frogs are known to be sensitive to changes in their habitats, and pollution or chemical exposure can lead to deformities. While I'm all for logic and science, I don't think there's a science to this. No evolution has happened here. My guess is the wings could have been attached to the frog to create the footage. We've dealt with such before, but hey, I could be wrong. What do you think, though? Could this indeed be a mutant frog or something else entirely? Do you know anyone with teeth fillings? Do you know if they're using mercury for those fillings or not? If you are wondering why you should care, this man right here is saying that beyond the danger of mercury exposure, those fillings in your teeth could become receivers for radio waves, basically making you an antenna. Before you call him crazy, do some research. There are actually reports of people having strange sensations after the fillings were done. It's almost as though they become aware that things they weren't supposed to be aware of. The big question on the mind of most conspiracy theorists is, does the government know? Is the government secretly using this to enhance and weaponize its citizens? Is this the reason the government isn't serious about pulling bad dental products from the markets? Wild questions, I know, but just think about them. I checked in with Julius on this, and for the first time he couldn't call me crazy. He told me that some people had reported experiencing strange sensations such as hearing buzzing or voices, which they believed were caused by their fillings. He explained that this idea likely stemmed from the fact that metal dental fillings could, in rare cases, act as passive radio receivers under very specific conditions. According to him, if a filling had the right shape and was exposed to a strong radio signal, it could theoretically pick up the signal and vibrate in response, producing a faint sound inside the mouth. However, he emphasized that this phenomenon was extremely rare and not a common occurrence. Rare and not a common occurrence. Well, how would he know? A TikToker has been sharing a strange encounter she's been having with what she believes to be a mimic. She used to live on her family's farmhouse in the Appalachian Mountains. Though she no longer lives there, she recently returned to retrieve a few items she'd left behind. She went back with her husband, and as they were looking around the house and filming, something chilling happened. As the camera panned around, you see her husband, or at least someone who looked exactly like him, behind her. He was crouched on the ground with his head bent down. But here's the terrifying part. That was not her husband. At the time, her real husband was outside filming the front of the house, so if that wasn't him, then who or what was it? Many believe the Appalachian Mountains are home to strange and unexplainable entities, and mimics are said to be one of them. Creatures that imitate voices, faces, and even entire people to lure unsuspecting victims. Could this be one of them? This man approached an ATM, appearing somewhat agitated as he inserted his card. After a moment of waiting, he became increasingly frustrated. Suddenly, without warning, he kicked the machine hard. All of a sudden, cash began to flow out of the dispenser. In a quick, impulsive act, he grabbed a handful of bills and dashed away from the scene, leaving the machine still dispensing cash. Just moments later, a bystander noticed the commotion and rushed after him. This is crazy. Is this some sort of new ATM hack? Anyone who knows should feel free to educate us. Still on strange humanoid creatures, take a look at this clip. You see it, don't you? It's hiding behind the bushes, almost as though it doesn't want to be discovered. It tries very hard to remain still, almost as though it believes if it remains still, no one will see it's there. While we can see it's humanoid, we can't help but ask ourselves, what exactly is it that we're dealing with here? The uploader, on the other hand, believes this is a skinwalker. He apparently recorded this in a region where skinwalkers are known to be regular. While skinwalkers are known to take any form or shape they so desire, this doesn't look like the traditional drawings of a skinwalker in the Navajo culture. The paranormal community is also divided on this, with some suggesting that this is nothing more than a human pretending to be a wraith. Some also claim the clip is doctored. It's always this controversial when it comes to paranormal clips. You've seen it yourselves, so what do you think? This is Florida. Yeah, you heard right. Florida. For some weird reason, they're reportedly getting snowstorms near blizzard conditions. This is happening in locations where you wouldn't expect. In fact, the experts are calling it a once-in-a-generation event. The residents are stunned, as many of them don't even have the resources to deal with this because it's not something that you'd expect or have to deal with regularly. Why is this happening? Well, the answer is simple: global warming. At least that's the answer being sold to us. Members of the paranormal community believe this is geoengineered weather at its best, but hey, what the hell do I know, huh? Does anyone live in Florida? Can you confirm this for us? Now, on this channel, we've experienced the paranormal and we've seen groundbreaking tech. But what happens when you marry the two? The result, ladies and gentlemen, is what you see on your screen. When I first saw this video, I had one question: how's this even possible? So this man's showcasing his autonomous robot spirit being. He showcases himself walking with it. During the first instance, you might think he's got some sophisticated tech in there, but he repeats the showcase again, this time showing the empty internals. Despite having no known tech in it, his creation still moves. This is God people saying he's found a way to merge technology and the supernatural. Not sure how that works, but someone mentioned that he brought his creation to life using a book. I guess there's no point asking about that book because there's no way he'll release any information on it, assuming it's all true. Reminds me of Geppetto and his creation Pinocchio, but what if it wasn't a fairy tale?
I got 5 chickens. I don't want any LED on them. None. Scan my shirt 5 times, buddy. 5 times.
This footage shows a bizarre and head-scratching moment captured at a supermarket. A man purchases 5 rotisserie chickens, but instead of letting the cashier scan the barcodes on the chickens themselves, he insists they scan a QR code printing on his t-shirt 5 times. He explained that he didn't want the LED lights from the scanner to touch his food. He believes the red light could somehow affect the chicken, but doesn't seem to realize the scanner still emits the same light onto his shirt. If there were any supposed danger from the LED lights, well, wouldn't he be exposing himself even more directly? It's an amusing interaction, but perhaps he really knows something that we don't.
Scan it. I did. Okay.
A home security camera captured the actions of 3 men attempting to steal a car. They approached the vehicle under the cover of darkness and quickly removed the covers from one of the headlights. Using an indicator wire, one of the individuals connected it to a handheld OBD2 device. This device allowed them to interface with the car's onboard diagnostic system, enabling them to start the vehicle without needing a key. Once they accessed the car's systems, they unlocked the doors and swiftly got inside. With little regard for the risk, they drove off without attracting any attention or facing any obstacles. Looks like that home may need extra security. On that note, let me make sure my car is still in the parking lot. Hold on a sec. I'll be back in a minute. Sure, we've seen lots of weird stuff on this channel, but we always find an answer to even the most puzzling of captures. Be it from the Encyclopedia of Paranormal Things or from Julius, well, the encyclopedic mind. This clip, however, has got us scratching our heads. It's one of those rare situations where Julius refused to comment, yet after combing the internet for hours, I found nothing on it. Someone was allegedly out in the woods by a water body when he captured this. He'd never seen it before and wanted answers. All my possible answers turned out to be a dead end. Some in the paranormal community stated it is a mini Nessie. This is the second time we're describing something as one, but look at it. How else would you describe it? If there's an actual creature that looks like this, well, don't roast me, just help me understand this mystery. Next, let's dive into the deep and eerie conspiracy theory, the Black-Eyed Club. For years, people have noticed that celebrities, politicians, and some of the world's wealthiest individuals have been seen with a mysterious black eye, as if someone had punched them in one eye. But here's where it gets strange. It's not just a few people, it's a pattern. Some of the most powerful figures, including presidents, popes, and billionaires, have been photographed with this same injury at the peak of their careers. Because of this, they've been linked to what many call the Black-Eyed Club. Now, theories about this go deep. Some believe it's tied to secret societies like the Illuminati or Freemasons and is a ritualistic initiation that symbolizes their entry into the highest levels of power. Of course, no one has officially explained their black eye or admitted the ritual, but the fact that so many influential figures share this strange, unexplained phenomenon has left conspiracy theories convinced that this is no coincidence. The fact that the media hasn't said anything concerning this has many conspiracies' senses tingling. So what do you think? A bizarre coincidence or something much darker? A man was driving down a deserted street one night when his dash cam captured something truly unsettling. On the side of the road, there appeared to be a pale figure sitting cross-legged on the ground, its head bent downward. At first glance, it looked like a person draped in a white robe, motionless and eerie in the darkness. But as the car approached and passed by, the figure lifted its head and moved, revealing something truly bizarre. It didn't look human at all. Upon closer inspection, what seemed like a white robe wasn't clothing, it was the figure's own skin, stark and unnervingly white. So what exactly is this? A paranormal entity, an unknown creature, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts. While children in many parts of the world eagerly await the gifts Santa will leave under the Christmas tree, things look quite different in some regions of Indonesia. Take this clip for instance. We see men holding large sacks force this young boy into one as he kicks and cries in protest. But don't worry, this isn't a kidnapping. It's actually part of a Christmas custom. These men roam neighborhoods, and parents with naughty children invite them over to teach their kids a lesson. The men pretend to carry the kids away in sacks as a warning. However, they're careful not to harm the children, as you can see in the footage. One man even shakes the boy's hand gently when he stands in the sack crying. The idea is to scare the kids into behaving better in the upcoming year. This tradition is inspired by Sinterklaas, a Dutch Christmas tradition that also involves playful scare tactics to keep children on their best behavior. What do you think? Is this an effective way to encourage good behavior throughout the year, or a creative way to create childhood traumas? Moving on. This is certainly one that will be hard to fake. Do you see those waves moving the water? They're not natural, are they? This comes from Vancouver, Canada, and according to sources, this isn't the first time the waves have moved like this. Residents who live there believe there's something huge moving within the water causing the huge wave. But here's the thing, no one has ever seen it. An individual commented on the original post, and according to him, the phenomenon has been there for generations. The big question now is, what creature is that, and what is it doing in those waters? Well, there are many guesses here, and those are including wild ones like Nessie the Loch Ness Monster. Some in the community were quick to point out that the area has a lot of whales, and that the waves could just be whales moving. It does make sense, but for some reason locals are convinced it's gotta be something else. And you've seen the clip, so what do you think? The ocean remains one of the most mysterious places on Earth, filled with secrets that continue to baffle even the most seasoned explorers. This footage shared online recently adds yet another layer of intrigue to the deep sea's countless mysteries. Captured by a deep-sea camera, you can see a massive creature swimming by, and the sheer size alone is enough to leave you in awe. Its head has a striking resemblance to that of a crocodile, long with sharp, menacing teeth. At first glance, it's hard to believe something like this could still exist in our oceans today. However, after some research, it was identified as a mosasaurus. Yes, a mosasaurus. The giant marine reptile was believed to have gone extinct over 66 million years ago, but here it is, seemingly alive and swimming. This creature was a dominant predator during the late Cretaceous period, and its size and power rivaled that of modern sharks. So is this creature truly no longer extinct, or is this just edited footage?
Can you see it? It's a fucking Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot.
A woman driving near the woods had a startling encounter, or so it seemed at first. Ahead in the tree line, she spotted a 9-foot-tall Bigfoot figure standing among the trees. Its towering silhouette gave her quite a fright. As she drove closer, it became clear this wasn't a living creature at all, but a Bigfoot sculpture cleverly crafted from leaves and other natural materials. The craftsmanship was so realistic. It seems someone decided to have a bit of fun by creating this woodland surprise and leaving it in plain sight. Whether it's meant as a prank, art installation, or just to stir curiosity, it definitely succeeded in turning heads. What would you do if you stumbled across something like this?
Not the best.
A woman was sitting in the living room with her toddler when she noticed the little girl staring at the staircase. At first, it seemed normal. Kids space out all the time. But then the girl pointed and told her mom about the man at the stairs who was scaring her. The mother pulled out her phone and began recording. In the video, nothing unusual appears at the staircase that would explain the child's reaction, but the toddler insists that someone is there. Some people dismiss it as just a child's imagination, but many believe otherwise. Children are often said to be more sensitive to energies and presences than adults can see. So, was this just a child's active imagination, or was the girl seeing something her mother simply couldn't?
What did you see?
Monkey.
Where's the man? Where?
Man.
Show Mama where's the man. Ria, show Mama where's the man.
Point.
Where's nobody there?
Point. Point.
Is he on the stairs?
Yes.
Is he standing there?
Yes.
Where?
And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, I want to know something from you. Have any of you guys got any creepy stories, any kinds of videos that we can actually show on this channel? If you do us a favor. Can you please send them to this email address here, classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. If you send them in, I'm going to give you a shout out, dear viewer. I'll see you in the next one. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures.